we'll just sit here like, anyway, so we won't say, we won't say anything until I go, okay, we're here with Michael Mitchell. Okay, 1 second. On Facebook. All right. All right, so we're on board. Sorry guys, you had some technical difficulties we had to work through. Hey everyone, I hope you guys are having an amazing day. I'm super excited for you. I am going to get the opportunity today to interview someone who is really an expert in the construction field, and his name is Michael Mitchell. He's actually a member of our Facebook group, and you know, at one point he just said, hey, if you want, I can share some information with your group. And I was like, oh my God, yes. So welcome, Michael. Welcome to our group.
Hey, thanks for having me, Stacey. I'm super excited.
Right on. So, Michael, why don't we just start by telling me a little bit about yourself and your background, and
Sure.
Go from there.
Absolutely. I'm gonna let you know, it's kind of hard for me because I have like a lot of energy. So just sitting here talking, if you see me move around a bit, I get super, super excited. But yeah, let's just jump back to 2009, really where the whole journey started. I read a book by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I think probably everybody's heard about it. And I mean, I never read a book, honestly, in my life before that one, and read it in 3 days. It was like real estate. That's what I want to do. Where do I start? And I had no idea. And so I knew I needed to make some money. At least that was my belief structure back then. You teach a lot of great value in your group about how to get newbies started and get them going on their journey. And I wish I would have known about you a little bit sooner, but I was stuck in the trenches. And so I did the best thing I knew at the time, which was tree work on a landscape. And so I started building up, trying to make some money. And I ran into a guy that actually had a bunch of rental properties, really successful. And I remember him coming to me one day during break and goes, Michael, you ever seen The Secret? I said, Secret? No, I never even heard of it. And so he goes, Michael, it changed my life. You need to go get it right now and watch it every day for 30 days. I was like, okay, John. I will do that. And so I just did what he said. If somebody is more successful than I am, then I listen to him, and I didn't miss a beat. So I go to Barnes & Nobles with my fiance or girlfriend at the time. We've been together a long time, high school sweethearts. I think she's my fiance at the time now. So we go to Barnes & Nobles, we get The Secret, and I watch it every day for 30 days. And, my fiance at the time was like, you're crazy. Like it's been 9 days and you're still watching this thing. Like, can we watch a show? Like, no. I have to watch this because I want to go into real estate and I'm thinking the wrong direction. And so long story short, I put up my vision board. I put houses upside down to flip them and turn them. And I was dead set on it. I was like, well, what's the next step? And wife, and it was like, fiance at the time was like, well, why don't we go look at properties? So I remember going down to Liberty, Missouri, and I called this realtor and I said, I want to look at your fourplex. I'm super interested in it. So I walk in the door and I look around and I was so confused because like the floors were slanted, the doors weren't shutting right. There was chipping paint. The HVAC system was all rusted out in the basement. Man, I was scared to death. I was like, what do I didn't even know where to start in that process. But again, staying true to, attracting good things in my life and believing that I was going to be flipping houses, I just started to talk to people. It's like, so what is it you do? Well, I paint, or they do drywall. And I was like, well, what if I build a construction business and then I can like really build up a team and then I really know what's going on inside the house. So 2011, I started a company called Extraordinary Measures. And I ran into actually my first mentor in 2011, and I paid him like $60,000 to teach me about renovation and construction. Because honestly, I had no construction experience. I really wasn't qualified to be in, at that time. And so I listened to my mentor, and like he walked me through like every single step. And so we ended up growing $1 million company in 3 years, because that's what he did. And in 3 years, he built $1 million company. So by default, I learned that. But during that process, I actually lost a lot of money, because there was still some tools and systems that I was missing. So then I ran into my next mentor, who really changed everything for me. And that's some value that I want to be sharing with you guys today. That's, man, it can change your business in a big way. So I listened to this guy for about a week. I paid about $10,000, and he started teaching me that I needed processes inside my construction business in order to track when things were going right, when they were going wrong. I needed to have systems for when the money went out and how much money was coming in, like how I was hiring contractors, literally every step of the process. And he says, just remember one thing, there's 3 phases to every renovation project. There's project plan, project manage, and project close. He says, and if you remember these phases, then you won't mix them. If you mix them, your business is going to go like this, and you're never going to know why what's going on. And you're just going to blame the contractor. And then you're going to fire the contractor, hire another contractor. Things are going to get better. And it just never is. So he says, so he taught me a system of how to break everything down and start measuring what I was doing and what I was saying and how I was acting and what I was doing, what worked, what didn't work. And so through this process of working with him, and then several projects later, I put together all these systems. I was like, okay, so whenever I interview someone, this is what I'm going to do. And so, like I said, I developed all these different processes in order to make this construction business work. So with no construction experience, I went on to build a construction company. If my face looks familiar, you see me on the HGTV with Tamara Day. I was on there with 2 episodes with her. That was an awesome experience, but it ruined TV for me. I can't ever watch TV the same anymore, because it's insane. We can
it's entertainment.
Yeah, it's all entertainment. Like some of the stuff that we recorded on the last day, they make it on, like put on the first day. It was amazing. Cameras right here, and it like I said, the whole experience was really interesting. They went on to do 10 more episodes, and I was like, you know what, I'm probably not a fit for that, but the 2 was awesome. And I mean, still today I get people like, man, I know you from somewhere. I'm like, you watch HGTV? Like, yeah, I do. Did you see Tamara Day? Mm-hmm. Like, oh, that's where Michael Mitchell, so
That's awesome.
So like, that was a lot of fun. And like I said, we went on to win a bunch of awards and stuff like that. But what changed? Because honestly, I'm hiring the same contractors you are. The exact same contractors. So being that I am a GC, I hire GCs, but being I have processes, I say, hey, this is how I want the project to run. And I make sure that everybody's in alignment with it. You ain't got to be pushy with it, but they're fair systems that are processes for a renovation. And so as long as you follow the processes for renovation, then you get your contractor and you on the same page, and then you have a lot better success. And so, I worked with this guy, I'm going to say John, I don't want to say his name, but him and I did probably 50 houses together. Some of them were flip houses, working on our own. Some were working with investors, and some with residential. And him and I worked together, like I said, on 50 projects, and we had a lot of success. We met timelines, budgets, everything was good quality of work. Well, our business up leveled, and we started doing more like insurance restoration and things like that. Well, John went off on his own and started working with these investors. And within 3 months, he was out of the picture. Like, everything went wrong. And what was interesting about this is that we did 50 projects together, and then he goes out in the first 3 months and did a couple projects, and then
Sorry.
oh, you're fine. And then was out of business. And so what got me to realize is that these processes that I have actually work out really well. And so let's dive in of some of these processes I do that is going to help you take your business to the next level. It's going to give you some clarity. And I just know if you have a pen and paper, you're going to really want to write this down, because it's super powerful. So, I mean, I've done over 1,000 renovations. This isn't something I just picked up one night and said, hey, this is what I'm going to do. So 1,000 renovations and $70,000 later, I've learned this. So,
all right. Well, hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, Michael. So, for those of you who are watching this, or even if you're watching on replay, go grab a pen and go grab a notebook, because I was talking to Michael before we started talking, and he has got some serious knowledge to drop on you guys, and you're not going to want to miss this. So grab a pen and paper. And all right, Michael, I just want to make sure people caught that, because you do have a lot to share. So a lot of value.
And I mean, I talk fast. So if you just want to go, woo, woo, Charlie, slow it down a little bit. Like I said, I'm more of a stage kind of, you know, and like I said,
You're good. You're good. That's, hey, this is available on replay. So go for it.
Put my head on backwards. It's getting hot.
There you go.
And so awesome. So obviously the very first thing you want to do, a lot of investors, they go out, they rush, they buy a house, then they go find a team. Well, I can't say a team. They go find a general contractor, and then they get started on the renovation. And then they pray that everything works out. And like I said, when things don't work out, then they're like, oh, stupid contractor. They kick them out the door and they go find someone else. So I want to break down like this process, and we're going to start with the first one. And I don't see us getting through everything today, but we'll talk more about that here in a few. But so the very first thing we want to do, and I highly recommend, like if you're actively looking for properties, keep looking for properties, and you know, follow Stacy's advice and stay that route. But you honestly need to build your team first. You need to have trusted general contractors and contractors right now before you even get into getting your property. Because what happens is you get your property, you rush the process. And finding general contractors are they're everywhere. And especially in a good economy, they're everywhere. Everybody is a general contractor. And so what we're going to talk about is how to hire a contractor. I'm going to take you through the whole steps, everything you need to know. And Stacey, if I talk fast or you feel like I missed something, definitely ask me some clarity questions, okay?
Sure.
I did take some notes over here, though, to make sure that my excitement didn't
so we don't skip anything?
Yeah, absolutely. So the very first thing you want to do is you want to contact or first get a pen and paper and write down 5 to 10 contractors. If you're, you know, investing out of state, then find contractors that are local to that zip code. And I mean, I'd go for 10. I'd go for as many as you can. If you can do 20, if you're like, you know what, like I want to be successful, I'd write down a whole monster list. But for this example, we're going to say 5 to 10. So you're going to write down who they are, and then you're going to try to get as much information about the contractor as you can from the internet. And just to give you some tips on how to find contractors, you can always look in Facebook groups under like investing groups, because typically there is a bunch of different contractors. There's high-end contractors, low-end contractors, middle-of-the-road contractors. And typically the contractors you're looking for are going to be hanging out inside these investment groups. And so you can ask for referrals inside of there. And then Thumbtack is an app that I actually use. Again, there's a whole bunch of contractors on there, so you just want to just make a whole list of them. House, Angie's List, you got Home Advisor, Zarly. I hope I said that. You might have to pause that and rewind.
What's Zarly? I haven't heard that one before.
Zarly.
How do you spell it?
Zarrly.
Zarrly. Okay, I haven't heard that one before.
It's newer. It's probably like 4 years, but they're really trying to set themselves apart, you know, from being like everyone else and just kind of rush people in. So they have a really good system. Like you can see like people's response rate, you know, people's like satisfaction. Okay. And so it's definitely good. It's small, like compared to Thumbtack. I mean, it's a penny in the water, you know, but soon, you know, you give it a couple of years, Zarly will be one of the top ones, you know, because Thumbtack kind of throws in, you know, hey, you're a contractor, great, come on in, you know. And so, but you can get, again, you get your list of people on there. I said referrals, but, you know, friends, family, people that have hired contractors before. I got a famous say is whenever you get a referral, always ask, would you hire this person again? And get their feedback. Well, they were kind of slow, or, you know, the work was, you know, you're going to get the honest feedback, you know, from like a good referral source like that. So once you got your list, now it is the fun part to sit down, block out some time. This is, again, where another step where investors miss is that they get the contractor and rush them to their property because they're super excited. but here is where you want to actually sit down and make a phone call and interview them all. Like I said, over 1,000 renovations, I've figured out this little science to make sure that this works out. And I actually have this little cheat sheet that talk to you about how to get this here. But this is my contractor like interview sheet. So you got to have it. You got to have an interview process. And there's a couple points on here that I've marked with my pen that I want to talk about. So a lot of this is basic information. So again, you're on the phone, put your headsets in, have a piece of paper, have your interview sheet, and be ready to take notes. Because I mean, this phone call isn't just a phone call to say, hey, do you paint? Oh, great. Hey, come, the house. This is a time to see if you vibe with the contractor. It is so important that when you talk to him that you're going to be working with this contractor for a while. Like it could be a month, 2 months, 3 months, all depend on the size of your project. So make sure you all can like, hey, you know what? I think I like this guy, and it's going to help you to make sure your project goes a lot smoother. So during this interview, I got on here, like one of the first things I love to ask general contractors is, what do you specialize in? Because the general contractors, they're kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. Like we've all heard that, and so it's like, that's great, Bob. I'm glad that you do everything, but I'm super curious if you're to walk in a house right now and you could just point at anything and start working on that, like, what would that be, Bob? Can you tell me about that? Oh man, Michael, you know what? I love doing tile and trim. I've been doing that since I was a boy growing up, and I would write that down because honestly, that is what it's gonna. That's gonna be what he's just the bomb at. And so, if he's just like, you know what, I'm really good at trim. Again, you're gonna want to write that down because if he's a general contractor, you don't want him in there doing drywall work. When he's a master at this trim. And so again, you're gonna listen for different cues of what he says. He might say, you know what, I like to personally do tile and trim, but I got really great guys that do the drywall and they do the paint. And I'm like, really? Oh, can you tell me more about your guys? And like I said, you need to really dig in. And just so you know, this is completely normal. So if you're asking like questions that kind of dig in a little bit, it's completely normal. Like everybody does it. Like especially. I'm a bully, man. Like I want to know like debit card, social security numbers, I want to know everything. And so, I really dig in and again, it's totally normal. So if it feels a little uncomfortable at first, totally fine. Just keep pushing on these questions. The next thing, like I said, I asked here is, why did you go into business? I really like to this helps me to develop a relationship with the contractors and try to really understand like, what's their motivation behind being in business? Was it their family? Was it working at a job and they wanted to support their family? Like I said that kind of twice there because that's what's really what I'm looking for is like, man, I was working a 9 to 5. I was working for this company doing trim, tile, whatever, and I left and I wanted more time with my family. I wanted more time to go travel, and so you're going to hear like their desires of why they're in business. They're just like, I don't know, man, I just wanted to make money. It's like, oh, what? And so, you gotta, am I still there?
Yeah.
Go? And so, so like I said, you want to know why they went into business. If it's family related and things like that, it's usually a good sign that they're going to have integrity. And so again, these are all just different cues. You just kind of line up, and as the more that line up, the more likelihood of you finding a good contractor for your project. So then the other key one is, can I see the work on one of your recent projects? Now, it's ideal if you can actually go see some of their work on a project, on a live project. I actually interviewed a guy the other day. Dude, he was an animal on the phone, like just a stud, multiple crews. And we were laughing, dude. Like we were like high-fiving through the phone, I was like eating popcorn as he was telling me stories. And I was like, dude, awesome, man. Well, can I come see one of your projects? I would love to see like what you're doing and what's going on. He goes, absolutely, Michael, come on by. So this actually was like 2 weeks ago. I mean, I was so excited. I drove like 45 minutes to go see this. I go walk in the property. I walk in. I was like, wow, this is amazing. But I started to look at like the finish work, and because like like overall you can look and like kind of look fast and it's beautiful. But when you start looking at like the trim cuts and the tile, like the lines, I said, you don't need construction experience to know this stuff. You just have to know like really what looks good. If it trims like this and not on like on a 45, that's a problem. You know, so the carpenter just, you know, he just ain't ready yet. He's still growing. And so as I walked through this house, there was like the door handles were on backwards. You know, there was like paint on the brand new floor. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, if he runs this project like this, then maybe he's going to run my project like that. So anyways, it was really, really hard because him and I had a lot of great laughs. And so we were high-fiving. We were like best buds. And I was like, man, I can't hire this guy though, because it just ain't going to work out. And so we shook hands. And I was like, hey man, I'll be honest with you. Like I'm just interviewing a lot of contractors, you know, right now, and just trying to really just fill my pipeline. It might be a few months before you hear from me. But as of right now, just keep doing your thing, and we'll be in contact shortly. So, you know, there's a soft way to let it go, because man, he was so nice. I couldn't just say, hey man, you suck, and I got to move on. So I kind of eased out of that one, in a nice kind of way. So again, if you do need to back yourself out of one like that, then just keep it short and sweet. Like, hey, listen, I haven't bought a property yet, but here in a few months, you know, I'm just kind of building my team right now. Not a big deal. Ain't got nothing, no promises. And so that is that. Like I said, you know, the other questions are really good to have. But moving on to the next point. Okay, so let's kind of review. So you made a list, you sat down and you called them, and out of those 10 that you picked, it's probably going to narrow down to about 5, because there's going to be some in there just like, oh my gosh, this guy either doesn't shut up, or is he sleeping? Is he drunk? You know, you'll start to catch on. The more contractors you talk to, the more you'll start to understand the lingo. And totally cool. If you're brand new to this, you're learning something new. Totally fine. And again, you'll just start to catch on the signs. So you weed out, you know, 5 of them, maybe more. Maybe you got to make a new list. Totally fine. Just be patient in this process, because this is where your investment we're talking about. This ain't, you know, unless you got millions of dollars and you just, you know, and want to go figure it out like I did and lose tens of thousands of dollars, totally cool. But if you want to be patient in this process, get you a good team, then narrow down your list, block the time to call them. Now, here's the other point, is you want to actually try to meet them at lunch. Meet them somewhere where you can sit down and have another conversation with them. If you can't meet them at the project, tell them to bring some photos, bring, you know, videos or something like that, and just have another little conversation with them. It doesn't have to be lunch. It could be just a place to meet at, or just somewhere, again, to see if they show up. And so, you know, if they show up to the call, everything's good, and then they show up to lunch, you know, they're on time, they're presentable. This is looking good. This is looking promising. But again, if you can meet them at the project, that's the best. You call them, you either meet them at a project or for lunch. Either way, this kind of gives you an idea of how they operate. You know, are they punctual? Are they clean cut? And so forth. So again, you start to know, you start to get to know more about their character. So
Michael, what about, so one of the things that I teach, and I know our Facebook group isn't called this, but I teach remote passive income real estate investing. That's really my bread and butter, because I live in a place where passive income just really isn't a thing. So what would you suggest in a case where when someone is, and everybody in our mastermind is working on remote investing, like what would you suggest when that's the case? Obviously you can't go to the project site, you're not meeting them for lunch. What are some other things that you feel would be a reasonable swap if the in-person is not a possibility?
Then, so you don't ever meet the contractor, right?
Correct. Every once in a while, there's a rare occasion where I end up in a market because I have other business there, and I meet them, but I've already hired them. I've already been working with them. So no, I don't ever meet them in person.
Okay. And so like a brand new investor, let's say they're buying a house in Florida, like right now, they'll just do everything from the phone to make money. Okay, perfect. So then
everything is remote.
Okay, perfect. I would do that interview call. I would ask. That's what I would really do. I really ask a lot of questions. And on there at the bottom, you're getting references and talking to other people. And if you can really get an understanding of their quality of work, then you can probably skip out, you know, actually meeting for lunch, or obviously meeting out a project. Well, obviously you can't do that because you're doing it remote. So I would definitely get those references, and I would ask for a lot of pictures, and just, you know, getting panoramic of pictures. I or videos more ideal because videos you can't lie. Pictures you can. I can show you this wall, but not that one. And so if you can get a short little video clip and just kind of walk through the house and get a good visual for it, and that will definitely see, like, again, the quality of work. Just tell them like what you want to see. Like, hey, can you like show me like your trim and your tile work, the finish work? You don't need to see like electrical lines or plumbing lines right in the wall, but can you show me the trim? Can you show me the tile? And just see different things. And if the contractor is really proud of his work, he's going to show you. There's no reason why he'd keep that secret. He wants the business, so it wouldn't be a problem.
I guess another thing we could do instead of a lunch would be just like a call like this. After the initial, if it's somebody we're interested in working with, is let's get on the phone and talk like face to face. Because although you and I are doing this in an interview right now, when I meet with people over the phone, this is how I meet with people generally. Is I'm like, let's go have coffee, but you're in Missouri and I'm in California, so let's have coffee this way. I don't even drink coffee, but
well,
I guess there's a way you could do it face to face with them.
And if you have an iPhone, then you can FaceTime and walk through the property and
right.
just let them talk, honestly. And so that's actually a really good question. So yeah, I would definitely spend a lot of time on an interview call and really get to know them and really look for the referral, dig in for the referrals pretty hard. Usually your realtor friends got some pretty good contacts and for you. And so I asked my realtor for a lot of different contacts. Some are great and some are, you got to keep an eye on them, but you interview them hard. And yeah, like you're saying, get on if you have an iPhone or Skype call or something like that, just say, hey, call me when your projects. And as they're going through one of the projects, if you can't be there, then really get panoramic views of, see how organized the job site is, where the tools are laid up at, and just think like if it was your project, like is that how you'd want it to be ran, and there's trash everywhere, bags and tools, and one guy's running wire, one guy's hanging trim, next. And so definitely being remote, I would say make you a good list of contractors and really work through it, because a lot of times even a referral source, I would still try to get several more referrals, because I've been referred people, and you have a lot better chance of it working out. But if I skip one of these processes, then
no guarantee.
I feel it. So so if you're remote, then you do it from the phone. If you're local, then try to meet them at a project, and then after that, it is time to take them to your project and show that everything that's what's going on. And so during the walkthrough is really try have a vision of what you want to do. I guess if you're remote, are you doing that through iPhone and walking them through, or just
iPhone, video, Zoom, Skype, Marco Polo?
Okay, yep.
These days technology is just not an issue. So yeah, through any, it just depends on what the other person has available. But I've trained all of my team members on Marco Polo, mainly because you can have, it doesn't have to be real time, but it's very close to real time. Like you could go back and forth on it, but something that gives a visual. There's always, video walkthrough in some fashion.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I guess so. Yeah, whatever technology that you pick there. So so when you meet them at the project, I'm not sure if you're doing this, but I never give my budget ever, because if you say it's $50,000, well, guess how much they're going to bid? $50,000. And so, I never give my budget. I have them come in and give me honest prices, and tell them everything that's going on, like what I want. And then once I get the prices back, whether I'm getting always get multiple, but you get multiple prices back and try to compare to see if they're apples to apples, and look at the price points, and then so if you're getting multiple estimates, just a rule of thumb, so you're never blacklisted from contractors in the area, is don't ever take one contractor's estimate and give it to the other contractor and say, can you bid lower? It's in the contracting world, is very disrespectful. And one man's bid is like that's like his hospital records. Just keep it honest. And honestly, running contractors at the bottom of the barrel, you're setting yourself up for fire. It's going to be in trouble. So have an honest man, give an honest bid with an honest price. And out of that should come honesty, And so, so get your different estimates. And then again, like there's a whole other process outside of there. Probably ain't going to have time to dive into today, but so you get your estimates, start compare them, check your numbers, check your, exactly what they're doing, make sure the scopes are complete. So once you get your estimates, now it's time to hire a guy. Now it's time to narrow it down and pick one. So during the hiring process, you 100% want a contract, which you've been in this game long enough. I'm sure you got a really good contract that you give. And so definitely want to have a contract in place. You want to get a W-9 form. So you got the contractor's EIN number or Social Security, whatever it ends up being. So if you plan on taxing the contractor, I know different states and rules kind of apply there, but you can, if you do plan on taxing them, you got that information. And then you want to make sure they definitely have general liability. And then if you can, if you need to make sure that they have workers' composition. Workers' composition, what that is, if a contractor comes to your property and gets hurt, let's say something extreme, is say the contractor comes to your property and actually dies. The family can come and actually take your property. Like there's weird loopholes where they can sue you for the property and take it from underneath you. So if they don't have workers' composition, check especially being remote investors, check the at the state level, like will a work comp waiver work for that state? Like it should, but I just want to kind of be clear, I'm not a lawyer by no means, but a work comp waiver, at least here in Missouri, and with some of the other clients I work with in other states like Arizona, not California is one I don't know about. You guys got some interesting regulations. And so, but there's multiple states that do accept the work comp waiver, meaning when the contractor, you hand that to him, he fills it out, it waives all right. So if he gets hurt on your project, then he cannot come after you. No one can come after you. It's all on, it puts it all back on him. So I hope you wrote that down and circled that like 10 times, because that's, honestly, I don't even hire contractors without workers comp, but the only issue is a lot of times those guys can be a little bit more pricier. So depending on like your budget rehab, if you can afford the higher price contractor, then they're probably going to have workers' composition. But if they don't, get that work comp waiver signed. Just man, write that down all in order. W-9, make sure they have general liability, workers' comp. If they don't have workers' comp, get the work comp waiver. Now I'm going to give you a ninja tip here. When it comes to insurance, you do not want the contractor to fax you over a piece of paper and says, here's my insurance. You're going to want to become an additional assured. It's free, not a big deal. All you're going to do is tell the contractor, say, hey, I want to become an additional assured on your policy. Will you give me your insurance company's contact information or pass my contact information on to your insurance agent? And so what happens is you send it there, whether you send it to the contractor or the insurance agent, either way is fine. But at the end of the day, as long as the information gets back to their insurance agent, you're going to want to send them your business name, business address, or your personal name. And I try to do a PO box. I don't give out my personal address, but either way is fine if you. And then your email address. So what happens is the insurance agent will take all that information, and down in the bottom left corner, there'll be a little box that says additional assured or certificate holder. Say certificate holder, they'll put you down in the bottom of the box. And so this lets you know that the insurance is legit. And if there's any changes in the policy, you should get a mailed letter from the insurance company. So this is just a way to make sure that the contractor didn't get on Microsoft and wipe out the date and give you a fake insurance policy. So man, that's gold, absolute gold that you do. It's so important. Don't be lazy on that. Please do it for me.
So Michael, one thing, because we got to wrap up, but I know when we were talking previously, you had mentioned that you've developed a questionnaire for people to use when they're talking to contractors. Is that something that you're able to share with members of our group?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have the contractor sheet, and so if you're newer to investing, or you've been in your investing for a while and you feel like you're struggling, like with the renovation process of it, contractors, you're getting way too much money out there. You're giving contractors arbitrary down payments, and then you can't sleep at night because you're chewing your fingernails off, wondering if the contractor is going to do what he says he's going to do. I have put together a program. It's a 5-week program, and it helps investors to protect their investments by teaching them a tried and true renovation process. And so I work with investors who are renovating homes, and I help them create processes to avoid the pitfalls caused by contractors. And so I do this by following a process in sequential order. So I developed this program. It's literally over a decade of knowledge and 1,000 renovations shoved into 5 weeks of knowledge. And so like the first week, we really dive deep on, really how to build your team, how to, qualify contractors, and really build you a team that is going to set you up for the win. And so during week 2, this is where I teach you how to look at a property, analyze everything that's going on in it. And I developed cheat sheets where as long as you go through this cheat sheet, then everything in the house is accounted for. You can break it all down, and it's all in project flow. And so if you accounted for everything in the project, because I know I was guilty in the beginning, going in a project, looking around like, oh, paint, cabinets, light, and missing things. And so a lot of times contractors can miss a lot of things, and you notice that in the middle of a project when you started it, and they start adding more to their estimate. It's like, oh, I didn't bid that. So I get rid of that. Oh, I didn't include that. And so during week 2, I teach you exactly how to take that phrase and shoot it to the moon and just totally get rid of it. Week 3, I completely change your life. This is where we get rid of arbitrary down payments, and I teach you a process which it's called KPIs, key performance indicators, where for the money that goes out, the exact penny work that's going to go on. And so it's a good old boy system. You do this and I'll do that. And so exactly when you write a check, what it's going for. The contractor will know what it's going towards. And so he won't ask you for another payment. And so it's a draw system that keeps you and him aligned. You're not too far out on your money, but then also it's a timeline tracker. So if anything in the project goes wrong, then on that day, whoa, checking the temperature here, something ain't right, and you get to fix it. Where a lot of investors, when they start going wrong, it's a toothache that turns into a root canal. Well, we want to stop it at the toothache before it turns into a big deal. So we get our feet wet in project planning and doing things in the right way and creating project flows. And so after that, we get into project management. And I don't mean project management where you're standing over the contractor and you're there every single day. I teach you how to do it where I give you my processes that tell you the questions to ask at the intervals of the stages of the project, so that you don't get all the way down the list and realize all this up here was done wrong and this was done wrong, and you have to go back. You already paid that money, so that'll confuse you. So we're just going to scratch it. I'm going to teach you tools that as long as you say what I say, like just read the piece of paper with no construction experience, then your management of your project, you're going to sleep a lot better at night. That pillow is going to feel a lot more comfortable. In the very final week of this, I teach you how to project close the right way. And so, trust me, there's a wrong way to close a project, and there's a right way to do it. And after closing 1,000 projects, I've learned both angles. And so that's the 5-week program. You get all my templates, all my cheat sheets, you get everything, and I explain everything in great detail. And so lifetime access to that. And then I have a weekly Q&A where it's a 1-hour call, which I'll stay up to 2 hours. It depends on how many investors are flipping houses at that time. Depends on how many people are on there. But so you get lifetime access to the Q&A with me. And so as you're going through the program, you have questions, or you're in the middle of a renovation, you have a question about something, I'm right there to fire off for you, and you get a very direct answer and to know the next step to take. And so that if people are interested in that, you can reach out to me in the comments. Is that fine, Stacy?
Yeah. How about we say, if you guys, if you want are you giving away the GC questionnaire also?
Yes.
Okay. So if you guys want to get a copy of the questionnaire that Michael has put together for you, that just helps you really do a great job screening the contractors, or if you want to find out a little bit more about the coaching that is available as you're going through your renovation projects, put the word contractor down below in the comments, and then that way he can connect with you, and he can send you the contractor questionnaire, and then if you want to find out more about the coaching, you guys can talk about that as well. I will say, as a 16-year veteran in in renovating properties, is pretty much every property I buy is a reno. Even my rentals, I buy them as fixers. So everything that Michael has said is absolutely, is spot on. I really like the detail, because you and I didn't get into a ton of the details, because I'm like, well, we'll just talk about it here. But you're really thorough, which I like. I will tell you that dealing with contractors is like the bane of our existence as investors at times. But there's really a way that you can do it to have a higher level of success and more peace. And Michael, I appreciate you going through that, and I'm sure that your coaching just really amplifies that. So anyway, so yeah, guys, if you want the questionnaire, or you want to talk to Michael about him just, coaching you through that process, write contractor below, and then you guys connect offline and take it from there. So Michael, thank you so much for taking the time to come on and share all that great knowledge with us. That was really fantastic.
Hey, thank you so much, Stacey. I appreciate your group. It's been super insightful. I mean, I love the interviews you're doing. Everything on it just been pure gold. So I definitely appreciate the opportunity to even speak with you. It's awesome.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, now this will be another interview that will be gold for people down the line. So thank you for that, Michael.
Rock and roll.
All right. Have a great day. Have a great day, everybody.
Take care.